Russian authorities plan to deport over 12,000 Ukrainian children to Russia in 2024, escalating their genocidal campaign. Children will be sent to summer camps and educational programs aimed at Russification. This includes over 600 children sent to camps in Russia's Primorsky Krai, far from Ukraine. These programs isolate children from their families, language, and culture, aiming to erase Ukrainian identity. The escalation is part of a broader strategy to subjugate Ukraine and its people under the guise of educational opportunities, representing a grave human rights violation. Iran continues to bolster Russia's military capabilities by providing lethal aid and technological support. A report detailed Russian efforts to produce Shahed drones using Iranian technologies, with production reaching up to 6,000 drones by mid-2024. These drones are used to strike Ukrainian targets, with additional supplies like the Ki-5 bombs further enhancing Russia's offensive capabilities. This cooperation between Russia and Iran significantly impacts the battlefield dynamics in Ukraine, demonstrating Iran's pivotal role in supporting Russia's ongoing military aggression and complicating international diplomatic efforts. Russian forces are intensifying attacks in northern Kharkiv Oblast and Donetsk, conducting mechanized assaults with limited success. Recent footage shows reinforced platoon-sized attacks, but significant advances remain elusive. These efforts likely aim to exploit Ukrainian manpower and material shortages before anticipated Western military aid arrives. Despite the increased tempo of attacks, Russian forces are testing Ukrainian defenses, seeking opportunities for exploitation along the front line. This tactical shift highlights Russia's persistent efforts to gain strategic advantages despite facing considerable resistance and operational challenges. Russian President Vladimir Putin misrepresented the Ukrainian constitution and domestic law, claiming President Zelensky is no longer legitimate. During a press conference, Putin cited Ukrainian laws out of context, suggesting that martial law does not extend the president's powers. However, Ukrainian law stipulates that the president remains in office until martial law ends and a new election is held. Putin's statements are part of a broader Kremlin information operation aimed at undermining Zelensky's legitimacy and confusing foreign audiences about Ukraine's legal framework during wartime. The Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe supported a resolution recognizing Russia's deliberate erasure of Ukrainian culture as part of its genocidal campaign. This resolution affirms that Russia's actions in occupied Ukraine, including the destruction of cultural identity and heritage, constitute elements of a broader strategy to eradicate Ukrainian national identity and independence. The resolution underscores the international community's growing recognition of Russia's systematic attempts to subjugate Ukraine through cultural and historical erasure, adding weight to calls for accountability and intervention. Russian ultranationalist information spaces have resumed public criticisms of the Russian Ministry of Defense. They warn that new Defense Minister Andrei Belousov may not address systemic issues hindering the war effort. Criticisms include high casualties, poor training, lack of troop rotations, and inadequate decision-making. These issues have a cyclical effect, undermining combat effectiveness and command accountability. The criticisms represent a significant break from the self-censorship previously enforced by the Ministry of Defense, highlighting growing discontent within Russia regarding the conduct and management of the war in Ukraine. Portugal and Belgium signed long-term bilateral security agreements with Ukraine. These agreements provide significant military support, including advanced weaponry and financial aid. Portugal's agreement includes $138 million in military support for 2024, while Belgium's agreement promises nearly $1 billion in military aid and support over the next 10 years. These agreements reinforce both countries' commitments to Ukraine's defense and stability, highlighting the growing international support for Ukraine amidst ongoing conflict and contributing to the strengthening of Ukraine's military capabilities.